Hello, everyone. Welcome to Live at the Waterhole. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Please sit back, relax, and enjoy these beautiful images that we hope to bring you live from our cameras across Africa. What a start! My name's Kelly. I'm going to be with you for the next 2 hours. We're going to hop between these cameras and see who we've got in action. And it's a beautiful start at Eldonyo up in Kenya with some drinking giraffes. This is an interesting action this guy's got going here. He had one knee bent and one leg stretched. A little bit of giraffe yoga happening. Just remember, we are live and interactive. We really enjoy it when you send through your questions, your comments, your thoughts, your ideas, anything you would like to discuss or muse. That's what we're here for. And wow, I hope he's warmed up for that. Send through all your questions, wildearth.tv/questions, or you can scan the QR code currently on your screens. Double giraffe drinking to start with. And that little flick just to open up that valve at the base of their head there to help with blood flow. Join the conversation on X using #WildEarth, or again, scan the QR code you can see on your screens. I actually really enjoy hearing everyone's comments and questions. It really gets me thinking. And I think anyone who is on the live Waterhole show would agree we do not know the answers to everything, not by a long shot, but your questions really get us thinking, get us engaged. Oh, 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 oh. They're so vulnerable in this position. I actually had a very close encounter, well, two close encounters with a giraffe this morning, actually. I was going to drop something at the gate of our wildlife estate, and there was a very large male giraffe stood in the road, and he was quite happy where he was. So I switched off and I sat for a little while, and after 3 or 4 minutes, he very graciously gave me space to pass. And then when I came back, he was in exactly the same position, chomping. I think it was a marula it was feeding on, actually, a marula tree. And he very graciously gave way again. There's no need to rush them. I almost turned around and went the other way, actually. Harry says, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Greetings from Amersfoort in the Netherlands. Good morning, good afternoon, Ari. I think you're 2 hours, 1 hour, 2 hours behind us in South Africa there, somewhere around there. So yeah, you would still be in the morning there. Colin Erasmus. Sorry, Colin Eames, I apologize. Been a member for 2 months and says, hi, Kelly. Have a nice time finding animals. I'm very much looking forward to the next couple of hours and spending some time here with the cams. And if I'm completely honest, I'm actually enjoying some aircon right now as well. God, it is a scorcher here in the Lowveld today, up around 40 degrees. Been spending the morning doing bits and pieces, and I'm also really looking forward to just sitting and spending some time seeing what's going on all of these cameras. This guy walking to the right, it's quite dark legs. It looks like looks like he's been spray painted or something on his legs. Mercedes Bean Bene, greetings, Kelly, Wild Earth crew and chatters. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday to you too, Mercedes. Joanne Mello, happy Wednesday, Wild Earth and Kelly. And to you, Joanne. And Raw, hi, Kelly, where are you from in the UK? Hello. You're a Dorset girl. Also living in South Africa for the last 30 years. I'm originally from Surrey. So just south of London. I had some long debates with someone the other day about my accent, and apparently I've got very regional eyes, as in the letter, not the features on my face. So I was born in Epsom, just south of London, home of the Epsom Downs, where the Epsom Derby horse races. So a little bit away from Dorset. But I spent some time in Dorset last year. Beautiful part of the world, very pretty. Um, there's some lots of people don't realise how. Oh, we've got this one last boy going down for a drink. Lots of people don't realise that there really are some beautiful parts of the UK. Everyone, you say England, everyone's first thought is London, but Dorset is stunning. And there's lovely places, Cornwall, there's the Dales, there's the Fells. So there is some beautiful open areas in the UK as well that I think lots of people don't realise, but certainly nothing like this. There's little, look like one of the crias or something, that little butterfly that fluttered by then. I was saying yesterday, giraffes always look very thoughtful to me. It looks like they spend a lot of time considering things. But lots of people do forget as well. Anything that's out here, we have to be very cautious of. When I um, met Mr. Giraffe this morning, he was, I wouldn't have pushed him. When you get very close to these animals, they are sizable. So respect everything and give everything lots of space. Almost looks like these guys are taking it in turns to come for a drink. Giving it some more thought, considering options. Hmm, no, that was a that was a no, thank you. It almost looks like they're looking at something behind the camera. Or maybe they're just considering any dangers that might be in that. Relatively, it looks like a small pan from here, but maybe there's bits of it I can't see. This looks like a male who's smelling this female. Is he gonna, maybe he's checking to see her reproductive status, check her hormones. And animals will often investigate others to check to see if their reproductive status, to see if she's in season, see if she's fertile at the moment, and they will often sniff and even taste urine of females to check this out. Oh, is she going to be a bender or a stretcher? Oh, we're a Skirly's a stretch. Having a good long drink. I suppose you would not want to get up and down like that more often than you need to. It's a bit of an effort. It's actually nice to see the fairly obvious flick flick that fairly obvious size difference when you see these males standing next to these females. It's often difficult to tell with perspective until you see these animals together. Oh no, this male is definitely having a good check of these. Ooh, ooh, definitely having a good check of these females. And it seems he may have taken a liking to this one. And is he gonna taste this urine? He is. Huh. And there we go. There's that phlegm and grimace. So he is checking the reproductive status of this female, investigating very closely. And the fact that she has taken up this stance suggests to me that she might be keen, for want of a better phrase. So we might see some making of baby giraffes here. Or maybe, no, he's turning away. Maybe he's changed his mind. Oh, oh, well, guy, come on. That's almost offensive. She's she's just pretty much given you the go ahead there, I think, and you've turned her down flat and looked next door. Is this other female on the left also gonna be receptive? This is actually really interesting behavior to watch. We do get to see it sometimes, but not too often because, as I'm sure everyone knows, giraffes they don't have a strict sort of herd or group or family structure like many of the other animals here. Oh no, it's a no to both of them. Fair enough. So he would have maybe checked a few of the females in this group. I think there was a couple of males here as well. So it's quite a big group and it's nice to have an opportunity to look at some of these dynamics in action. Mr. Elemental, good name. Greetings to all from a windy harbour in Western Australia. Greetings back to you as well. Oh, leopard lover, hi. The snake that tried to eat the impala on African the other week went for its head first and inadvertently created two holes through itself with the horns. Yeah, we were actually talking about this a couple of days ago. There was an update that we received, leopard lover. Um, give me a second. Let me see if I can go back and find the info I gave out um, yesterday. Okay, leopard lover, just for you or anyone else that might have missed it. Um, there was actually maybe let's rather wait until we go across to Tembe because maybe that impala cox is still there. So if you give us a little bit of time, we'll carry on watching these giraffes for a while. But when we go across to Tembe, we'll see what's been happening with that impala carcass, and I've still got this full update here that I can share with everyone. Um, it Short version, it didn't die in the moment. Um, so many of these animals are incredibly resilient. I was really interested to see that interaction with that male and that female then. Leopard lover. Being a typical male extends to animals as well as all. I'm not going to comment on any of that because I choose not to. I'm gonna stick with the animals, leopard lover. And Spas, hi Kelly. Um, you did not miss anything too much apart from the fact that there was a male who was very interested in a female who then changed his mind, basically. That's what you've missed. But oh, look, see, and this giraffe is a bender, as I call them. He bends his knees forward when he's drinking to get down nice and low to the water there. And I guess it depends on everyone's flexibility, their preferred style of drinking. And possibly age as well. And quite unusual to see two drinking at the same time. Hey. And that flick, I love seeing those photos. I've never managed to get one myself. Of when they lift their heads and flick that water up, and those beautiful photos that some people get with that lovely S of water coming out of their mouth. If anyone would like to go for a screen capture on that, then good luck. Ants, you're saying the giraffe limbo indeed. I have over the years, I find it interesting that I'm sure it's personal preference. The different postures that giraffes use to get down that low to drink. I used to well, I've played it more recently as well to illustrate the fact that everyone has different preferences. Um, I used to have a game called the cardboard box game. I would play with friends, and it basically involves bending down as low as you can to pick like a cereal box or something off the floor with your teeth without your knees or your hands touching the cereal box. And it was very interesting watching different people's styles of picking this box up with their teeth as it got closer and closer to the ground. So I'm sure everyone has their different styles. It's so nice to just watch the ebb and the flow of these animals rotating through this life-giving pan. Um, and everyone taking it in turn so nicely as well. Thank you for having a look around on that camera there. It does seem like they're looking at something. Giraffes are often use. Oh, is there something there? Oh, there's a nice, looks like a citrus swallowtail butterfly. Good luck with keeping up with that with the camera. Um, I for one, if I see a giraffe staring in a particular direction, I'll often stop and have a good check around and see if I'm not missing something. But they're quite cautious animals, and rightly so. They're living in a jolly dangerous place. No real need to rush or hurry though. Alrighty, we had a lovely time watching that male make his choices. Um, but I think let's head on over to the fabulous Tower Waterhole and we will see who we've got there. Maybe we've got some zebra. We do indeed have some zebra. And this zebra in the middle is I actually did some reading yesterday around this face this zebra's pulling. Gotta love this town waterhole. And this zebra in the middle of the screen is there's a few of them actually wiggling their noses up and down. So similar to it looks similar to the face we saw the giraffe pull when that male tested that female's urine, which is a phlegm and grimace, which is almost just savoring the flavors and getting more information from them using their Jacobson's organ. To me, it doesn't look like that's what these giraffes are doing when they're flipping their nose up like that. And I was talking about botflies. I think it was yesterday. And then I changed my mind and then I went and checked. And it can be botflies that do lay their eggs up under there in their mouth cavities and up under their top lips there. Um, and it's itchy, basically. And it looks to me like sometimes you will see zebra and horses sort of scratching and itching their noses on things and lifting their lip like that. Um, I'm a horse rider. I've ridden for many years, and I always used to notice horses would often do that if they if they tasted something funny. If they tasted something odd, they would lift their lip like that, which to me was heightening the senses of what they could taste or smell. But I think these zebras have got itchy noses, for want of a more scientific term. Leopard lover, yes, it's absolutely beautiful here. These flowers are looking stunning in this area around the waterhole here. I'm I still haven't I don't know what these flowers are. If anyone who's done this before has identified them, I'm finding it quite difficult to see the leaves or anything, so I'm not even going to guess. Anyone there at Rivonia or anyone that's had a firm confirmation on these flowers, I would love to hear. They're a little bit pixelated, so I'm not even going to guess. If anyone could confirm exactly what they are, that would be super helpful. Spas from beautiful giraffes to zebra at Tau. A great beginning to the show, I agree. The waterhole that keeps on giving. This copy you can see so nicely here in the background. That's the view from the waterhole, and it's a copy I know very, very well. There's quite a few copies around the Tau area and across Madikwe. And if my memory serves me correctly, this is called Majuing, this copy that we can see here. And then possibly the one to the right is Mabalajuing, but I can't for the life of me remember what that means in Swana. So I'm going to recheck. And there's a road that runs all the way along the bottom of that copy on the left and then sort of goes around again. Often it was these copies that were our best bet of finding leopard in this area. Leopard were often few and far between. And if we did see leopard around this area, it was often they would be up in these rocks, up in these copies. Ants are also enjoying the zebra stripes. Such a unique looking animal, hey? I actually heard the other day that there's subspecies of birchwood zebra been identified. I'm not going to try and quote them. But it's amazing how quickly science is advancing all the time, finding new information and subspecies, and science is advancing so quickly. We're learning all these new things about everything that goes on around us. Oh, looks like we've got some oliphants joining us from the background there. And these are big groups of zebra we see here. Not always, but in the Lowveld, I've sort of not going to check in books, but as far as I've seen, zebra herds are often between 8 and 8 and 15, 8 and 12, somewhere around there. But I have noticed there are often bigger groups in Madikwe, but it's dependent on the resources. Books say lots of things until you see something that doesn't fit the books. Ah, look at these little baby wildebeest. There was a road coming out from town. Oh, I've forgotten all my road names. It was the main road that went north away from town. Um, Often as you drove down that road, it was amazing to see when all the wildebeest had their babies. They would leave them in little creches, and they were noisy. They would make lots of noise there. I'm just trying to decide whether or not I'm going to do an impression of a baby wildebeest. Yeah, I think I will. It's sort of like a meh 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 meh. And when there's lots of them, it's quite noisy. Okay, we're gonna head across to Tembe and we'll have a look and see what's happening up there. And I'm sure lots of us are also keen, anyone that's missed it, to get an update on what happened with our snaky incident. Oh, don't chase the birdie's elephant. It's not very nice. Okay, so Leopard Lover, you were asking what was happening with the ongoing story of the snake and the impala. I think these elephants are going to hang around for a little while. So let's run through the snake again and I'll give you an update. So basically, from what I understand, there was a snake that tried to hunt an impala and it failed and it injured itself. So what's happened is specialists have had a look at this snake. It's still alive and they are going to monitor it. And hopefully it's going to survive, but only time will tell, and I'm sure we will keep you updated. Ah, okie dokie. That's our impala carcass. And that looks like a woolly neck stork. And that carcass doesn't even look like it's been opened yet. So shame. The impala did lose its life. But from what I understand, it was live for a long time. The snake struggled to swallow, didn't manage it, regurgitated what had already been attempted, and actually injured itself quite badly. The horns did quite a lot of damage to the snake. There was a injury around the cloaca of the snake, which, as far as I understood, was sort of like the back end, basically where poop comes out, for want of a better phrase, which confused me a little bit because if they were trying to swallow it, I would have thought the horns would have been up towards the top a bit more. But maybe it flicked around, or I'm not sure. But there's people that have looked at the snake and confirm where those injuries are. So I they know what they're talking about basically. But short version, um, the snake is still alive was the last update, and hopefully it's gonna not succumb to its injuries that it picked up. Okay, so that is indeed a woolly neck stork, and they do indeed occasionally feed on carrion. Not their main source of food. So there is indeed a woolly neck stork we can see, and it was just having a little bit of a nibble on that impala carcass. But they are known to feed occasionally on carrion. It's not their main source of food. Normally foraging on things like insects and crabs and lizards, but occasionally carrion. Joanne, no problem. Sorry, it's not a up to the moment update. Um, but I'm sure we will get feedback wherever we can on the snake incident. You do become a part of these things from seeing them on the screen. I am surprised that no one has finished, or at least opened this carcass, but I would have expected this to be gone. Spas, it is lovely to be up here at Tembe. There is lots of research being done on frequency of when pythons are seen around all around Africa. I don't have any statistics in front of me for Tembe, but storks. Most things have a very varied diet. Again, like I always say, you know, books tell you things, and then you see something that's not in a book. I had a long debate with someone a while ago about what dassies eat, and they eat what they can and you know what they need. Um, we all know there's various incidents of unusual animals having a nibble on a bit of carrion or something hunting that wasn't supposed to hunt. I don't mean like sort of you know an elephant hunting. But often not mixed feeders, omnivores will they take what they can when they can when it's available. Really, everyone needs to survive out here. Is that stork gonna go and have another look at that carcass? But no, I'm super surprised that no one has taken that yet. This really is a brilliant camera up here. There's always something going on here. Is that stork going to go and have another try? Storks and this you can see this beak is not designed for opening a carcass. And it might if he might be wanting to have a little bit of a nibble there, it's probably quite frustrating that he can't get in there, he or she to get any protein from this carcass. It would be a shame to waste it, but if you can't open it, you can't open it. Animal lover, you're asking, are the animals not eating this impala because of snake venom? Um, Definitely not. It was a python that killed it, and pythons are not venomous. They kill things by constricting them, and they've also got fairly big teeth that can do a lot of damage, which may have opened this carcass a little bit. But animal lover, I don't know. I don't know why no one's eating this carcass. I don't know if anyone's ever seen hyena or anything on this camera. I'm not even sure if they're here. I'd be surprised if they're not. Normally scavengers are everywhere, whether on the ground or from the air. Daniel, maybe the vultures are grounded by air traffic control. And Lady Macbeth, also, we're rarely seeing vultures at Tembe. But there's other things. It's not just vultures and hyena that should be cleaning this up. Maybe that is maybe that is open. Sorry, anyone, if anyone's having lunch, might be a bit gross. But maybe this carcass is open because that stork is eating something, or maybe this stork is feeding on larvae that have been laid on this carcass. I can't quite see. Yeah, Limber, I think stork's taking the maggots. Yeah, I thought exactly the same thing. Maybe that's what's happening. And if those maggots are in there, then it will indeed start decaying this carcass quite rapidly. I'm sure in hot conditions as well. Um, but yeah, it's not often I see carcasses hanging around. But then again, I often hang out in hyena and vulture populated areas. But no, Limbury, I think you're probably right. That looks more like it's eating um, bugs or maggots or something off of and from around that carcass rather. Yeah, look, it's it's picking things off that carcass. I don't know if anyone's seen it. It's pretty gross. And I can't remember where I saw it, but I've seen a couple of time lapse clips of carcasses, and someone set up a camera on them, and it just shows how incredibly quickly those carcasses get cleared up. I had a um, incident years ago, and sadly it was a young rhino that died. It wasn't a poaching incident. It died, and we closed the area, so there was no game viewers allowed to go because that's just what it was decided would happen. And after it was 36 hours, this rhino was probably maybe two years old. So I mean, it was it wasn't a massive adult rhino, but it was sizable. And we went back after 36 hours, and there was nothing there. There was a few feathers. That was it. So I don't know. I'm trying to guess how much a 2-year-old rhino would weigh. 200 kilograms, 300 kilograms in 36 hours was gone. And the only evidence that was left was a couple of feathers. All of those impalas there in the shade. It does look warm there today. I love watching these elephants cover themselves with mud. I like the accuracy they use. Always behind the ears. Leopard lover. Um, you're thinking maybe when it gets a bit smellier, someone might come to that carcass. Possibly, but I'm shocked. But only the bush knows why these things happen sometime. And Siv in Norway, you said you've been watching and there's been some storks already that have been feeding from the opposite side of the carcass. It could be that it's been opened. It could be that they're eating bugs. To me, the action of that stalk looked like it was picking larvae or insects or something. Um, but yeah, I'm sure at some point someone needs to watch this camera permanently and see if anyone comes and takes it. I do really enjoy it. I said a couple of days ago, I've actually got it's not one of these cameras. It's a little mini security camera that I've got a little bird bath at the back of my house that I very much enjoy. Very much enjoy seeing if anyone comes to visit the bird bath. And I've had a big boy coming in, and I've had a duiker, and I've had some dwarf mongoose, and I've seen some banded mongoose, and I've had some porcupine, and it's super exciting. So yeah, I'm a big fan of these live cameras. And I think I actually missed where we're going to go now, but I think there might be something happening at one of the other cameras. Sorry, um, FC, I didn't quite catch where we were going, but we're going somewhere to see something. Ah, Victoria Falls. Apologies. Let's go and have a look at Victoria Falls. Oh, wow. Talking about vultures. Huh. This is the first time I've seen this camera. That's cool. Who have we got here? We've definitely got hooded vultures. We've definitely got white. See, I'm doubting myself now, and I struggle to tell the difference between Cape and whiteback vultures. Sometimes, unless they're all standing next to each other, I'm going to go whitebacks on these. And I'm going to check, if I'm honest. Hmm, this might be Cape vultures. They are lighter, bigger than whitebacks. I know they're less common. I think they might be Cape. That one drinking now, who just went down and had a drink in the middle there. I think that might be a Cape vulture. But anyone, please feel free, jump in, correct me. It's been a long time since I've seen a Cape vulture, so feel free to correct. Raw, you're asking, with global temperatures going up, how many degrees more do you think the animals can endure? Phew, that's a big question. I don't know. I actually said to someone yesterday, um, there seems to be lots of changes and disasters in climate, and we're seeing fires and floods. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a Cape vulture that's standing at that water now. If someone can help me confirm, um, I don't know is the answer to that. Um, Again, it depends on, is it full time? Are they fluctuations? Or is it impacting resources? It's a massive question that ecologists and scientists um, have been trying to answer. And I don't know if they've come up with a conclusion, so I'm not even going to hazard a guess. Because they're all huddling into the shade there. Tiny little patch of shade. I've actually seen had some really nice sightings with vultures around water. And they will often bathe and then bask, and they spread their wings. And I think I've had four species of vulture in one sighting at a little tiny pan. It was actually in the Kruger. We came around a corner, and I think there was leopard faced, hooded, white backed, and uh, cape, all in the same place, I think. See, this hooded vulture's having a preen here. It's very important that birds have to keep their feathers in good condition for flight. They spend a lot of time preening, cleaning their feathers. Lots of birds have a preen gland that's just sort of at the top of their tail, so at the base of their back, top of their tail, and they will take that preen oil from this gland and sort of comb it through their feathers. I'm calling in reinforcements from uh, someone, and they're also not too sure from these images if this is a Cape vulture or a whiteback. And it seems to be the consensus is currently white-backed until proven otherwise. So feel free to let me know if anyone else can see Cape vulture here. Let's do it together. Let's try and work it out together, everyone that's listening. And I'm in my bird app. Easily confused with, so Cape vultures easily confused with adult whiteback vultures, both at rest and in flight. Adult plumage only acquired by the age of 5 or 6 years. Bluish head covered in short white hair like feathers. Come on, FC. Cape or whiteback? The one on that log just looks really pale to me. This hooded vulture's got his beak open when he's drinking. I'm sure they're trying to keep nice and cool in there. Okay, whiteback vultures are smaller, shorter neck. Hmm. Doesn't help that they're all huddled in the shade over there either, really, because you can't see them properly. Right, I give up. They're definitely vultures. These hooded vultures on the left, what are they doing? They're, what are they looking for on the ground? They look like they're looking for stuff on the ground. See, that one on the left looks bigger and paler than the one on the right to me. That to me, see that ruff looks unusual to me. Well, not unusual, but it looks unusual for a whiteback vulture to me. And you can see clearly when they both bend their heads down. Anyway. Brendan is asking, can white-backed and black-backed vultures mate? I don't know of a black-backed vulture. We've got these hooded vultures here. Um, it's quite unusual. It happens, but it's quite unusual in nature that different species of things reproduce. There are some cases I've heard of. I'm trying to think. I have heard of a bird doing it, but I can't remember off the top of my head who or what it was. Um, like in theory, it's possible, but it just doesn't really happen in nature. So all these speciated mixes of ligers and things, it doesn't. Nature doesn't. It's not down with that. It's everyone, keeps themselves to themselves, and so while technically, in theory, a hooded and a whiteback could, they wouldn't. It is nice to see though how they're all sharing this resource. There's no fisticuffs. There's no fighting. This is very cool though. I haven't seen this camera before. See, that's not the same bird to me. That looks like white-backed, and the other one looks like cape to me. I've just been sent some super cool information about this place. This is really is an awesome experience to be able to view these vultures so close. Um, you can't. It's often difficult to get there. I know there are a couple of places where you can. There's a couple of hives. There's a couple of restaurants. But this is awesome. I've never actually been to or heard of this place, if I'm completely honest. But look at this. There's some really nice opportunities to watch vultures here. Jane is asking, would different kinds of vultures usually congregate together? Yeah, they can do. Um, they are often actually seen together if there's a carcass, especially a big carcass. They almost have different roles in the ecosystem. They're all um, nature's bin men. They do a great job and a very important job actually of tidying up carrion, preventing diseases. Vultures have very um, strong stomachs and can digest all sorts of unpleasant stuff. Um, and they almost have different roles around a carcass. So uh, the bigger vultures, so the lappet face vultures. I'm not sure if we've ever seen any here, but if you see a lappet face vulture, you will know it when you see it. They're big and bulky, and yeah, they're big birds. These lappet face vultures, and they've got sort of um pinky sort of heads with sometimes almost like a bluish tinge to them, and great big strong hooked beaks. And they can rip through the skin of dead animals, and they can open that carcass up to allow other vultures to access the flesh underneath. So they're often the first ones in, or if they're not the first ones in, then everyone else has to wait till they're there. And then you get your other sort of bulk feeders. So your cape, your white-backed, they will come and they'll do good um, good bulk cleanup. And then when you get down to later on in the carcass, the hooded vultures, they're much smaller. They're little tiny beaks. They're like toothpicks, and they will clean those bones nice and clean. So, um, Jane, yes, they're often seen together, um, because they've all got different roles. They've all got different places in the all got different places in the pecking order. Wow, I'm hilarious. Uh, so yes, Jane, short version. Yes, different kinds of vultures do congregate together. All these vultures look like they're hunkering down now for the day. Um, so I think let's leave these guys to it, and let's head back across to that beautiful tower waterhole. Oh, wow. It's bath time for these Ellies here at town. Look at them. Actually, this is quite interesting to look at. Look at these one, two. So the third elephant from the left and the fourth elephant from the left. Look at their different head shapes. This third elephant, I think, is quite elderly. Look at those sunken areas of her forehead, compared to how round the other one is stood next to them. That's um, very clear difference there on those two animals. It's a shame we missed these guys coming in. I'm sure they got excited as they started making their way down to this water. Ah, we've got water, we've got dust going. The wildebeest at the back are like, right, okay, we'll just wait here then. There's plenty of Egyptian geese here today as well. I'm not sure, do any of these cameras have temperatures on them? I'd love to know. It'd be really cool to be able to see the temperatures of everywhere we're watching. You could almost it would make you feel like you were there more. Let's have a look and see what sort of temperatures they've got today up in Madikwe. My weather app says it's about 34, 35, so it is indeed pretty warm up there. So I'm sure these elephants were delighted to get down to the water. And this bull just sort of moving to the left of your screen. Now, look how long his front legs are. I often notice the bulls sometimes, especially younger bulls, almost look like their front legs are quite long compared to the front legs of some of the females. Off they go. There's actually a lovely when was it? Maybe 4 years ago. There's actually a lovely separate little outside seating area down the other end of town now. Well, there was last time I was there, very close to the inlet where the elephants drink, and you can sit there with a drink and watch all the elephants come in and going on their way through. And that looked like some birds just flew over there, a flock of birds. We also used to have lots of quilias that would come and visit the waterhole inlet, mostly often in the summer, and they would sort of fly over the access road. So sometimes when we were leaving for drive in the mornings, um, all the quilias they used to lots of them used to roost up just round at the top of our staff village where we stayed. And in the mornings they would fly down, and if you caught them at the right time, it would almost be like a huge murmuration of red-billed quellias that would come, and they would stop at the waterhole, have a drink, and then go off looking for food for the day. Finally, the wildebeest get a go. I wonder if these wildebeest are going to do that. I find wildebeest do it quite often. Suddenly, something will make someone jump, and they all go, and they all panic and run away. There we go. I don't know what my delay's like today, but I promise you I didn't see them do that before I said it. You can see on these Egyptian geese, it looks like they've got black dots on their chest, like someone's gone through them and coloured in a little spot on their chest with a marker pen. It's actually a little bare patch of skin, their brood patch, that when they're sitting on eggs, they will nestle down. I'm doing it with my shoulders, they'll sort of snuggle down. Apparently, when I was young, I used to say double down instead of snuggle down, according to my dad. They will double down and put that piece of skin on their chest directly against the eggs, so they get more body warmth from the adults while they're incubating them. So they are not random dark blobs on them. They are their brood patches to help them when they're incubating their eggs. Cassie, you're asking, do all birds have a brood patch? A good question. Oh my goodness! Wow, that was epic. Did everyone see that? That crocodile nearly took a wildebeest. Oh, they are out of there. They're like, absolutely not. I'm having none of that. Does that happen often on this camera? That was super cool. No wonder they get. I've never seen, certainly not wildebeest, but those crocodiles were smaller when I was there. That was very cool. Oh, okay. FCS said it happens pretty often. I was deeply excited by that. I've never seen them go for wildebeest before, but that was very cool. Uh, and I suppose sometimes if you try enough times, then in the end you get lucky. But anyway, Cassie, do all birds have a brood patch? I don't know. Um, Logically, yes, but if you think some brood parasites don't incubate their own eggs or any eggs, would they have a need for it? I don't know, Cassie. I'm going to have to investigate. I suppose a lot of it would depend on how they incubate their eggs. Males and females, if males didn't incubate or females didn't incubate, would it be worth them having a brood patch? What are the negatives for the bird of having a brood patch? If they don't need it, would they develop it? Um, I would have thought, if anything, it would be more beneficial to the individual bird to not have a brood patch because they lose heat through it, or that part of them isn't as insulated from the cold or the heat, so it'd make them more susceptible. I don't know, Cassie, if I'm completely honest. I'll do some digging. Logic would say yes, but my gut says possibly not. So, Cassie, let me investigate. Thanks very much for that, Sandy. So anyone, if you are watching or listening, remember we are live and interactive here. Please send through all your comments, your thoughts, your ideas. And we would love you to join in our conversations here at the fabulous Tower Waterhole. Oh, goose fight. Send in your questions to wildearth.tv/questions, or you can scan the QR code currently on your screen. Cassie, I don't know the answer to that. I'm going to put it on my list of things to investigate. Do all birds have a brood patch? And this is why I enjoy you all asking questions. I tell you what though, this geese are cross. Don't be mean. The longer you're around, you do find, well, I find anyway, I often look things up and I often investigate things. And then a couple of years passes and I've forgotten again. So put it on my homework list. Brood patch. Thank you for making me think. I was deeply excited by that crocodile. I think if that happens a lot, I'm going to watch this more often because that's tense stuff. I've just heard that apparently we might have some baboons somewhere, which are one of my favourite things to watch, especially from a distance. So I would love to go over and let's have a look and see what they're up to. Lady Macbeth, you're saying you've seen a croc try and get a wildebeest before and it was successful. That's pretty cool. I'm just trying to think exactly how long ago I love watching baboons from a distance. These are definitely in my top three favorite things to watch, if not my favorite. Like I'm not even going to talk for a bit. I'm going to be quiet and just watch them. Just you can almost see them thinking and considering stuff. I relate so much. I relate to baboons, unsurprisingly, but just watch their faces. I've got no idea what bird that was. I've never been birding in Kenya. See, look at that little guy just sitting by the edge of the water. Sitting nice and chilled. Oh, no. Move along. Resting that arm on the knee. And I like it. They pick things up and they sort of look at them and, whoa, what's this? And they give it a sniff and sometimes they give it a taste and they'll go, no, thank you. Or this, oh, I love watching them. I really, really do enjoy watching these baboons. Oh, look at that little one. He's trying to get a drink, but he can't reach. Shame, man. I see lots of people think these little ones are quite cute, but I actually think they look sort of like little aliens a little bit. As I said, that's fast. Um, I do love watching baboons, especially baby baboons, Kelly. They're so cute. I enjoy watching them, but I do think they look a little bit like aliens or something. I like, the way that baboon just sort of, oh, just sort of wiped his nose a little bit and, oh, what have you got there? Oh, big one's coming. Little one's back off. Little one runs round to hide in front of mum. See, we could anthropomorphize and say, ah, look at the family with mummy, daddy, and baby, but we would never dream of doing that. I thought we might have been in for some making of baby baboons then in a fairly gratuitous fashion, but we were not. Hello, photo pom Imbala. Oh no, Merlin Parler's like no. Although he's not exactly chasing them, is he? They just sort of moved out. They just sort of moved out of that Impala's way. What's this little one? See, look. Oh, having a pick at his feet. Don't pick your feet. Don't chew your toes. Come on. That's what I'm sure mothers all over the world would be saying. Don't put your toes in your mouth. Not in front of the camera. Anyone that has just rejoined us, you just missed a moment that could have it it didn't happen, but I thought it was going to happen, and it would have been quite difficult to narrate. I wouldn't have needed to narrate it because it would have been quite clear exactly what was going on, and it would have involved a um, male and a female baboon right in front of the camera, but she wandered off, so that was fortunate. It's the way they sit with their elbows rested on their knees. I'm actually, you know what? I might be changing my mind about watching baboons. I think I might change my mind to I enjoy watching baboons on my own when I don't have to narrate what they're doing. I think that might be my new preference. Oh, that's pixelated a little bit, but this little guy, I can see he's got something in his mouth. Ah, there we go. Oh, delicious. What have you got? That's a cool image. See, look, he's opening that bit of fruit, not sure what it is, fruit from somewhere, getting that lovely flesh out of it. Like he's enjoying it and nibbling with his teeth and giving it a lick. Nina Brown, you're asking how intense is competition between baboon females? Um, I've never seen a female baboon fight. Look at this little one. Look, what's it getting chewing his feet there? I've never seen a baboon fight between two females. Um, I've seen many scuffles between males. So that's what I've seen. But again, I suppose it depends on the conditions. I'm sure if there was food shortages, there would be more inter-female competitions. There would be more fighting. But I've never seen a fight between two female baboons. So I'm going to say not that intense. But again, it depends on the situation. It depends what's happening. To me, it's more often between the males. There's a lovely grooming session going on here. And often, it's not always, people often talk about dominance and grooming and things like that when it comes to baboons and lots of animals for that matter. But it's more about bonding, families, group dynamics, group communication. So it's not only, and I'm sure you've all seen it on the cameras, it's not only the subordinates or the younger animals in a group that will groom the older animals, or more dominant, if you want to say, or higher in the hierarchy. It's family, it's communication, it's bonding, it's group dynamics, it's group communication. And there we go. That goes to prove it that it is sometimes bigger animals. And I mean, other than possibly lunch, um, I mean, they're not getting great amounts of food off there. I wouldn't have thought there's a few ticks or other parasites that are in there. But that bigger baboon on the right grooming that smaller one on the left is not going to have a glut of a lunch from it. It's family time. Um, MA lovers, my lovers. What is the typical social structure of a baboon troop? Typically, there's often uh, there's often more than one adult male, but it'll often be understood which of the adult males is top of the tree. Huh, no pun intended. It will be a mixture of adult males, adult females, young males, young females, and babies. It's a family. It's not. Uh, I think it's an oligarchy, if I'm correct. So there'll be a sort of an overarching group of males, um, with subordinates under, and then youngsters falling under them. But again, the the longer I'm around, group dynamics fluctuate in many, um, within family groups as well as between um, rival groups. So we all know there's a adult male lion, and females come underneath the adult male, but dynamics change, and in a baboon group, if there's more than one adult male, for some reason, for a while there might be one specific guy who gets all the ladies and all the rights, and he's got sort of subordinates under him, and then it might change, it might fluctuate. So the guy on top gets injured, or I don't know if they would get overthrown for something. It's fluid. Group dynamics in many animal um, families and species, I think we're starting to increasingly understand just how fluid they are. But typically, top male, other adult males, adult females, and youngsters under them. You know, we've often seen we say that, you know, in lion prides, the young males get kicked out of the pride when they're, you know, 2 years old or whatever it is, and then we bump into a pride where there's a 4 or 5 year old son that is still hanging around despite 10-year-old dominant male dad being present, and everyone goes, "Oh, that's unusual," but you know, it's unusual. Typically, you know, they will get chased away. But sometimes, if their behavior allows and group dynamics allow and food and water resources allow, um, it's much more fluid. See, I just that is such a human pose to me. And are they little like berry things on the floor there? They look like little berries or little fruits, possibly. Joel's asking, do I think baboons have become too habituated? Again, depends where you are. Some areas they're not even remotely habituated. But other areas, uh, far too much so. And then you've got the question, habituated, stroke bold. I think again there's a difference between habituated. You know, some of the lions in the Kruger are habituated to vehicles, but they're not, you know, they're not jumping through windows and dragging people out. So that's, you know, different levels of habituated. I'm sure what you probably mean is you know, these baboons that have been fed and oh, what's going on there? What's that baboon looking at? He's looking at something. See, that baboon in the sorry, Joe, I'll come back to you. That middle baboon of those three is upset by something. I can see him looking over to the right, and I don't know if anyone else noticed. He was like a almost like a rocking backwards and forwards just to go, what was that? What was that? And see, he's doing it again. And it was at that point the baboon on the furthest right started grooming. So I wonder if that's sort of not a displacement behaviour, but almost an action that happened to try and pacify the one that was a little bit upset by something, like a calming behaviour. Oh, oh, what's what's that? Darren, what's that? Oh, Dave. Oh, what's going on? See, look, these two are still grooming each other. This is not normal grooming to me because they're upset by something. And if you're, you know, if you see something that's about to possibly chase you, you don't suddenly start grooming each other. So maybe it's sort of a pacification behavior or a calming behavior or like a displacement for being a bit uncomfortable. I wonder what disturbed them. Um. Anyway, Joel, I think you probably mean, you know, around lodges and what's going on? I don't think it's like a leopard or something because they'd be more upset. They're more confused and mildly concerned than petrified. I don't know what's causing that. But around lodges, around Cape Town, Joel, um, yes, absolutely. One of the reasons I often say I enjoy watching baboons out in the bush is because I've seen a lot more baboons raiding tables and stealing things from vehicles and rooms and stuff than I have peacefully feeding 50 or 80 meters away in the bush, unfortunately. So from that respect, yes, I think they have, Joel. Thank you for having a scan and a look around here. whoever is scanning and looking around, that almost would have been, maybe they thought they saw a snake or something. That was the sort of response that appeared to be to me, rather than we're all going to get eaten. It was more of a, what's that? Did you see that move? Was that something moving? Oh, I don't know. Did that move? That looked like more, and they're back on the ground. Maybe someone's walked onto the deck there. Which, oh yeah, it can be hugely problematic, and not just baboons. Many animals that should be safe. Oh, that's an argument between baboons. Many animals that should be untamed, undisturbed, unimpacted, unaffected by humans, are far more affected than they should be, in my opinion. People think it's cute to feed them and cute to have them close, and sometimes it's not even intentional. I think some of the areas where animals habituate themselves, so there isn't anyone feeding them or anything, but if there's human habitation, it leaves food, and it becomes increasingly difficult for them not to steal and be habituated. So sometimes we actually do it unintentionally. I was actually speaking to someone yesterday. They were looking for some advice around how to handle snakes. Not handle snakes, like don't handle snakes is my advice on that. But how to manage living in an area with snakes. And the first thing I said was don't give them a reason to be there. Most animals, many animals, they don't want to be near humans. We historically were not a part of their world, and now we are. And if the requirements of life, food, water, and shelter, if we provide food, water, and shelter intentionally or not, then they will come. And the first thing I said was, if you are concerned about snakes, first thing to do is make sure you're not accidentally providing them with any resources. So the first is food. So if you feed birds, which attracts mice, if you've got chickens, if you've got a pond that attracts frogs, anything that snakes feed on, if you've got nesting boxes for birds, that's all the things that snakes eat. So that's the first thing. So if you try and eliminate resources, so if there's nothing there for them to eat, they will go somewhere else to eat. And then the second thing you do is eliminate shelter. So rubbish also attracts mice and rodents. Log piles, which is a shame because lots of things live in log piles, but unfortunately, I would much rather people persuade snakes not to come close to their homes than kill them if they got there. So, if there's nowhere for snakes to shelter, and I understand I'm a conservationist, and I never want any animals to be harmed or injured. But unfortunately, humans do come into contact with venomous snakes in many areas, and I would much prefer those venomous snakes stayed somewhere else than came into human habitat and ended up killed as a result. So remove log piles, just a small area. The advice I gave was just clear a 100 square meter area. Keep the grass short. Have no ponds. Have no rubbish. Have no hidey places. And the snakes don't have a reason to be there. And if they do happen to pass through, then they've got no reason to stay. So while it's not, people might not be intentionally encouraging snakes, inadvertently it happens. And it's often the same with many other wildlife species. So even if it's not intentional, um, we can encourage them sometimes by accident. MA lovers, malovers. Brilliant question. How do baboons adapt to different environments and food sources? Um, very well. I'm not sure if you're asking how skilled they are at it or how do they actually do it. Um, but they are very adaptable, and they cover many parts of Africa, different types of baboons. I'm just trying to think. There's more than two. I know chacma baboons, olive baboons, and without cheating, I can't remember any of the others. Um, and they're found in many areas. So that already gives you a clue that they're very adaptable. Often animals that have large ranges or cover large geographical areas are the most adaptable, because they can utilize so many different food sources. Um, and baboons, they'll roost on, even in South Africa, I've seen baboons roosting in trees. I've seen them roosting on cliffs. I've seen them roosting on pylons. So even just the baboons that I've seen demonstrate that ability to adapt beautifully to their environment. Um, and they adapt because it's necessary. Um, I mean, so many food sources baboons can utilize. I mean, they hunt. I've never seen it. Unfortunately, I know people that have though, but I've seen that brilliant video clip of that baboon hunting a flamingo, and it chases it, and as it takes off, it launches into the air. The baboon follows it, grabs it by the leg, um, drags it back down, and eats it. So they can hunt. They obviously eat lots of fruit. We know they raid bins. They'll eat insects, all sorts of things. So they've got a super varied diet. And the question is, how do baboons adapt to different environments and food sources? Environments, I'm not sure if you mean like climatic environments or living environments. Living environments, again, like I was saying about the snakes, it's basically water availability, shelter or safety, however you wanna view it, and food. And if you can adapt to things like, if you've got if there's not much standing water, uh, lots of animals have evolved even, not even adapted, but actually evolved to not need standing water. They can acquire the water they need from what they eat. Um, it's incredible and baboons is actually a really good example. I would say, trying to think, they're definitely up there in some of the most adaptable species I can think of. Um, Different climates, different temperatures, um, and it's why they do so well. It's why primates in general do so well in so many different areas across the globe. It looks like this might have been the lookout who's been sitting up there. Looks like they might be moving off, and let's see if this lookout is going to start heading down, and they're going to carry on somewhere with their day. This was lunchtime stop off at the water, and they're going to carry on their day feeding. I forgot I had a brilliant sighting. It was actually in Madikwe. There's a place in Madikwe where and it's where I've seen baboons roosting up on sort of cliffy cave rock type faces. Um, it's really one of my favourite baboon sightings ever, actually. And there was a big troop of baboons, and they were spread out beautifully. I sat far away from them, and we must have sat there for a good probably 45 minutes, an hour, actually. We just found a nice shady spot under a tree and watched them feeding and interacting, and there was it wasn't a full adult, it was sort of an adolescent. Um, and I was watching him very closely, and he was on lookout duty, and he was sort of halfway up a tree, and there was sort of like a branch sticking out from the side of the tree, and he was sat on there. He wasn't a big adult, and he didn't move, he didn't feed, um, and he sat there looking for danger, keeping an eye on things. And we sat there till the sun was setting, and all of a sudden, this baboon got down. He'd been sitting, and he stood up, made his way down the tree, and started walking off in the direction where where the caves, where the cliffs were. Didn't alarm, didn't shout, didn't run around. And within 30 seconds of him starting to walk, with him or her, I can't remember. Within 30 seconds of him starting to walk his way down towards the night spot, all the others slowly started finishing up their feeds and their stuff that they were feeding on, and following down towards the cliffs where they were going to be spending the night. Really nice demonstration of cooperation. I just wondered if that baboon that was getting down was maybe on duty. What a lovely time to spend with those baboons. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit nervous that I was gonna have to do some very straight talking around baboon sexual activity and reproduction there, but seems we got away with it. Maybe next time. So while these guys make their way off nice and safely into the bush, let's head over to Tembe and see what's happening there. I get the impression there's pretty much always elephants at Tembe Elephant Park. Look how close together this bull's tusks are. Look how close those tips are. They must have got very good at passing that trunk through that gap. I just want to watch him and see. I'm sure he can, but let's watch. I'm trying to watch the one with the tusks that are close together, and the one on the left at the same time. If he's see, would that trunk pass through that gap? I don't know. I want to watch him drink. I mean, he's obviously fine, so whatever he's doing, he's working with it. But that to me at first glance almost looks like that trunk. Oh, okay, I lied. There we go. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Elephant, for proving that I have no idea what I'm talking about. Yes, it fits through beautifully and I can rest it on my tusks. I suppose that would be a massive flaw in elephant design if he couldn't do that, but it makes you think, you know, I'm sure they would adapt and learn to manipulate their trunk in such a way that it didn't need to fit through the gap. That's almost like you went, of course it fits through the gap, you silly person. Harry, yes, there's some big tusks in some of these elephants. It was the curve on that other guy's tusks that I thought was a little bit unusual. This is much more standard. Big gap, quite straight, quite clean. Um, and I'm sure the curve in those tusks has got something to do with genetics. I know I've seen some of the big tuskers that have emerged from Kruger. They've almost crossed over, but these tusks are very curved in, Ari. But they're not massively long or thick or heavy. A little teenage male and Yala wandering across there. But I have seen some of sadly not in person, but some of the tusks of the big Kruger tuskers, and other tuskers for that matter, almost touching the floor, and some of the tips of almost even crossed at the ends where they're so decurved they've come in to touch one another. Check this hole in this elephant's ear. I'm sure you've all seen him many times before, but I always like it when you can pick out identifying features that I see. This bull here who's just walked through, these tusks are bigger, I think. They're much longer, they're fatter. Lovely big tusk bulls here at Tembe Elephant Park. I can't remember if I told you yesterday, but I I enjoy I don't know why I enjoy it, but I enjoy recognizing individuals. I suppose it's a connection, feeling connected to wildlife without intrusive. But I think I'm pretty sure I've identified a local tortoise yesterday. I went for a very, very poor effort at a run on Sunday. And while I was running, I saw one of the hinged tortoises crossing the road, and I waited and made sure he got safely across the road, and I carried on. And then I was driving same time the next morning, and I'm convinced it was the same tortoise. It was in the same spot at the same time, crossing the same road in the same direction. So I think I've identified a local tortoise, which I think is very cool. I might go wait for him, see if he crosses in the same spot. These these are some nice big tusks on these bulls, actually. All nicely relaxing in the shade, having a little bit of a dust. So we've only got a few minutes left of this afternoon. If anyone has got any burning questions they want to pop through, you're welcome to quickly send them, and then I can maybe go away and do some research. And next time I'm back, I can hand in my homework. At the moment, I'm very much interested in finding out, do all birds have a brood patch? I don't know the answer. Logic says yes, gut says no. But this is it's a passion. It's a passion and it's a yearning for learning. Um, and I enjoy spending time with people that have that same passion for learning, wanting to know more, wanting to understand better. Find myself a lot of time in nature going, yeah, but why? How? How does that happen? Why does that happen? Animal behaviors. I find it absolutely fascinating. That guy at the back's having a real good time in that sand. All of these boys resting, having a dust bath, nice and peacefully together. Why can't humans be more like them, hey? Any differences often resolved with a little shake of the head or a little bit of posturing, and then peace always resolves once more. Marley, it's an absolute pleasure. I've very much enjoyed this afternoon, despite my mild baboon anxiety. Um, it's an absolute joy to be here with all of these fabulous cameras and everyone that's so interested and passionate about watching along with us and understanding more about our natural world. Very cool watching those. Um, that crocodile comes so close to getting one of those wildebeest though. I've never seen that at that waterhole before. You don't actually see it too often because you just have to be patient. Patience is a virtue. But whatever you're all up to for the rest of your day or your morning or your evening, please stay safe out there. We really appreciate you joining us. And we hope to see you all back here again soon. Take care and keep enjoying those cameras.